They told us it was a trick of the light at first. That's what Sheriff Doran said at the town meeting, smiling too hard, like if he kept his teeth showing long enough, we'd stop asking questions. Optical illusion, he called it. Stress. You all need rest. But we knew better, because the first one was Clara Whitmore. Clara didn't just vanish, she lingered. Her house still smelled like lavender soap. Her tea was still warm on the table, and her shadow was still there, stretched long across the kitchen floor, even though the lights were off. I saw it myself. It moved when nothing else did. At first, it twitched, like a reflection catching up too late. Then it started pacing, back and forth across the floor, brushing against the cabinets, bending unnaturally at the corners like it didn't understand the shape of the room it was trapped in. We called it in. The sheriff came. He stood in Clara's doorway, staring at that thing sliding along the walls. And then it stopped. Slowly, it turned toward him. Not Clara, not human, just a smear of darkness that noticed him. He told us later it was nothing. He lied, because 2 nights later he disappeared too, and his shadow showed up at the station. It didn't take long after that. People began vanishing quietly. No screams, no signs of struggle, just gone. But their shadows stayed. You'd see them where they used to be, on sidewalks, across bedroom walls, stretched along the ceilings like stains that wouldn't fade. And they didn't just stay still anymore. They wandered. At night, the town became something else. Streetlights flickered, and beneath them, shadows slipped free from their owners, sliding across pavement, climbing walls, gathering in corners. If you stood still long enough, you could feel them watching you. Waiting, we started closing our blinds, sleeping with lights on. Some people tried to leave, but the roads felt wrong after dark. Too long, too quiet, like the town didn't want to let you go. And sometimes, the shadows followed. I tried to ignore it, told myself it wasn't real, that there had to be an explanation. Until the night my brother disappeared. Evan was in the living room, sitting on the couch, flipping through channels like nothing was wrong. The lamp behind him cast his shadow long against the wall. We talked for a while about stupid things, old memories, anything to keep our minds off what was happening outside. Then the power flickered. Just once. When the lights came back, Evan was gone. No sound, no movement, just gone. But his shadow stayed, still sitting on the wall, still holding the shape of him. I couldn't breathe. "Evan," I whispered. The shadow didn't move at first, then its head tilted, slowly, too slowly, and then it stood up. I ran, locked myself in my room, shoved a chair under the doorknob, turned every light on. I stayed there all night, listening. Because it was outside, I could hear it. Not footsteps, not quite. More like something dragging itself across the walls, stretching, peeling. And then, a knock. Soft, careful. "Mason," it said. My brother's voice. Exactly his voice. "Let me in." I didn't answer. Another knock, louder this time. "I'm still here," it said. "I didn't go anywhere." The voice cracked, just enough to sound scared, just enough to sound real. I pressed my back against the wall, staring at the floor, refusing to look at the door. Because under the crack, I could see it, his shadow. It slipped through first. It poured into the room like spilled ink, stretching unnaturally across the floor, climbing up the walls, filling the corners where the light didn't quite reach. And then it stood up, flat, wrong, but shaped like him. It turned its head toward me and smiled. I could see the outline of it, a grin too wide for a face that wasn't really there. "You left me," it said. But its mouth didn't move. None of it moved. The voice came from everywhere. "I was alone," it whispered. "But now, I don't have to be." The light above me flickered, just once. And for a second, I didn't have a shadow. When the light came back, It was standing behind me, closer than it should have been. I could feel it now, cold, like something pressing against my back without weight. "You don't need that anymore," it said softly. I looked down, and there it was, my shadow, still on the floor. But it wasn't following me. It wasn't mine anymore. It looked up and waved. That was 3 days ago. I haven't left the house. I keep every light on, but they flicker more often now, and every time they do, my shadow moves a little more on its own. It's learning, getting stronger, waiting, because I think I understand now. The people didn't disappear. Not really. They just stepped out of themselves. And soon, when the lights go out, I will too.